Hey everybody, Linus Eukel, John Muir Land Trust. I'm really pleased to be able to provide this kind of kickoff for the Wagner Ranch nature area and really grateful that you're able to join us. Thank you for making the time. In as much as many of you will know a lot about John Muir Land Trust, we're grateful for your support and connection, but I'm sure there's a number of people who are a little less familiar. So I'm going to start with a kind of an overview of who we are and what we do to make sure everybody's up to speed on that before we get a little bit further into the Wagner Ranch piece. So to that end, John Muir Land Trust is a local non-governmental 501c3. We're a nonprofit organization. We're your local land trust. And our mission is, as you can read here, to protect and care for open space, ranches, farms, parkland, and shoreline throughout our region. And we define our region most specifically as the East Bay, but it extends beyond Contra Costa and Alameda County with respect to the Delta for very specific projects, but mostly Alameda, Contra Costa, and East Bay. And we have protected to date thousands of acres. Permanent protection runs with the deed, coming up on 5,000. And what that looks like and why we do it is to benefit all of us, to ensure clean water and air, to protect habitat for all the sentient creatures, plants, animals, and ourselves in habitat corridors throughout our region. And part of what comes of all that protection is also the ability to provide access to fresh food locally, whether it's farming at Hoover Ranch or at Family Harvest Farm, or cattle grazing for beef cattle and the like, as also the ancillary benefit of fire abatement. All of those things, again, to support our living in this area, and also with respect to that conservation, providing access to everybody to these properties. They're open from dawn to dusk, free of charge to anybody who can come out and enjoy those properties, which we very much encourage you to do. For your physical health, your mental well-being, get out and take a walk on these beautiful properties. There's sure to be something near you. And also, incrementally, all of this land conservation in sort of aggregation with other efforts helps reduce the impacts of climate change. So it really does benefit all of us locally and globally, and we're very grateful to you for your support of those efforts. That's why we do it, and how we do it is your support and the teamwork that you see described here. We have a great team, including a wonderful board of directors, very active committee members, professional staff, and people like you. So volunteers and supporters are an essential part of how we get things done, how we accomplish our mission, and everyone is welcome. So as you learn more, as you come to maybe consider the Wagner Ranch project, please know that you're invited to participate. Everyone is welcome, and we really look forward to that kind of connection with you. We also, of course, rely on individual donations, individual donors. We have upward of 10,000 donors with gifts ranging from $1 to over $1 million. And we're, again, always can't say enough, very grateful for that support, and know that your investment is leveraged by any number of other kinds of funding that we're able to then add to that tally. So right now we run a 3-year average. This is listed as about 4x for every dollar that's contributed. It's leveraged or multiplied by 4 times as many dollars. Actually, right now we're probably running more at $5 or $6 per each individual dollar contribution. And we have to be able to show all of that in aggregation to make any of that come to bear. We're not municipally funded, so we can channel dollars from outside of the organization, but really only based upon individual support. And that's why it really does take a village to get this done. And we can't thank you enough for those very generous donations and your ongoing support. This is where we do our work writ large. This sort of a line art map, just to give you a good feel for the area, and then to move to an aerial. What you see here is anything where you see a yellow map pin is a spot, a place, a parcel, a larger region where we have a specific real estate interest, where we are active, either having accomplished a project or in play with a project to move it forward to acquisition and permanent protection. You can see it goes as far as the Sierra with respect to working with state parks to get some things done up there. As a land trust that might not otherwise be able to be accomplished, as well as you can see more regionally, it's located in the East Bay specifically, but also well out into the Delta. So having said that, the way we actually do that work is through a connected ecosystem of partners, whether we're calling on scientific advisors through individual partners or agencies to really take a close look at deals, to do our diligence on how these deals might best benefit everybody involved, whether it's having to do with biodiversity or public access. Those years of connections and partnership in the conservation world really help us make the best decisions to connect your support to great projects and to help everybody make the most strategic investments in these nature-based solutions. This is sort of a fruit salad of all of the partners sort of at an agency level, and including some major foundations. This is, believe it or not, sort of the tip of the iceberg, but this is what fit on the screen, and I thought it's a good demonstration. Some of you have seen this before, but it's critical that we're in partnership with these folks to be able to best utilize your support in getting things done. And with respect to getting things done, I've featured a few properties here that have to do with things that or projects that we've attained, properties we've acquired that are relational to Wagner Ranch. So in the La Orinda area, Carr Ranch, Painted Rock, Harvey Ranch, all attained as permanently protected areas with all sorts of wonderful access to public recreation, mirroring also Fernandez Ranch just over the hill in terms of program, but specifically central is Pacheco Marsh, recently open to public recreation, and lots of programming that is relational to the kinds of efforts that we want to bring to bear at Harvey Ranch as well. I mean, not Harvey Ranch, but rather Wagner Ranch. A lot of ranches, sorry, Wagner Ranch. So that by concept plays into our work to actually develop next steps with respect to Wagner Ranch, which has been recently acquired, as it were. We own it in fee over in the Orinda neighborhood. Many of you already know this property, but here's a nice line art diagram of exactly what it is that the land trust now owns in fee. So by a subdivision map act exemption, we were able to create a new parcel that as a footprint creates plus or minus, when you count the road access to the west and south, plus or minus 16 acres. And you can see the co-location to the elementary school and so forth. This is the Wagner Ranch nature area that we are seeking to better understand next steps and proceed with project development, restoration, access, all of the great things that we're beginning to imagine in concert with you. Here's an aerial view of where that is. Again, many of you will be familiar with this, but if you go here, there's essentially a maintenance road coming down here. That's the southern boundary of this new parcel, and then down to the riparian area and the creek here, this riparian, up to Bear Creek Road, and then down into the essentially driveway access to the campus over here. We're contemplating what to do with this nature area that is now owned by John Muir Land Trust. And how we did that is similarly accomplished with project partners. As I was talking about the ecosystem, been involved with this for many years, high level coordination between JMLT and numerous project partners, which helped provide the strategic resources, the funding and expertise needed to successfully acquire and permanently protect the Wagner Ranch nature area, as I just described, that footprint. So I've been working with this with, I think, 4, maybe 5 superintendents for 20 years. I know more than 20 years. I know that a number of you have probably been engaged with the nature area for upward of 40 years. So this has been a long song, and we've now accomplished its permanent protection. Thank you to Rebecca Bauer-Cohan who was able to appropriate $1.5 million in order for the Orinda School District, in concert with the city of Orinda and the Office of Education, to be compensated with essentially the objective appraised value of the 16 plus or minus 16 acres, for it to then be transferred to us in fee. That included a lot of really good consultation and legal support from Fenimore and Neil Parrish specifically. We're very grateful. TRC was our partner in terms of doing phase one diligence in advance. And then Qualis is out there right now doing a topographical survey. You'll see lots of flagging and so forth, so that we have a really clear understanding of the topography. We've been working very closely with Moraga Orinda Fire District, MOFID, as well as Confire and Civic Corps to work on some of the tree work that needs to be done, including to address immediate fire abatement. And of course, our nearby partner, East Bay Municipal Utility District, EBMUD, is on the boundary to the west, to the north, and upslope in terms of the watershed. So these are all important partners to have gotten to this step. And of course, all along the way, the Restoration Design Group and Volmar Natural Lands Consulting. RDG is somebody we've worked with for many, many years, since Fernandez Ranch, in terms of restoration and design. Volmar is a wonderful lands consulting partner to really take a close look at the assets, the biological assets on property. We go through all of that process with them, so we really know what we're preserving in terms of flora and fauna, and a good concept as to what the conservation is going to require. At this point, we're also now, having worked with those project partners, to the notion of the project team. So this is the team that we're working with very closely to actually implement next steps, including the whole public process to better understand where we want to end up. And again, I would just iterate that the Restoration Design Group has been a wonderful partner, very successfully, Fernandez Ranch, Pacheco Marsh, and many other interactions with JMLT, to understand how do we want to move forward with respect to design and implementation. And in that vein, I'd like to take a moment. I'm honored to actually be able to introduce Kirsten Negus, who is going to be the project manager from Restoration Design Group, to the project manager, as it were, to talk us through a little bit more about next steps with respect to the Wagner Ranch Nature Area project. So, Kirsten, I'd invite you to just weigh in from this point.
Thank you very much, and thanks everyone for joining us today. I'm Kirsten Negus with Restoration Design Group, and we are a landscape architecture and engineering firm in Berkeley, and we specialize in environmental restoration and public access. And I'm a landscape architect, and as Linus mentioned, I'm going to be the project manager for the Wagner Ranch project. And for the design process, what we do is that we talk to the community and hear what the community's wants and needs are. We listen to John Muir Land Trust about their long-term goals and what their project needs are. We do project assessments and look at what the project and the site requirements are. And we take all of those things and draw them together into a site plan which honors the ecology of the site, but also recognizes the community's needs. Next slide, please. So there are a number of project requirements for Wagner Ranch Nature Area, and the nature area must be permanently protected and cared for by John Muir Land Trust. It must be safe, and as Linus mentioned, that includes removing any hazardous trees, addressing fire safety, making sure that trails are safe. The project must also provide public use amenities, and that could be restrooms, shade, water, benches, anything that makes the site comfortable and a comfortable place to be. The site also must be accessible to people of all ages and abilities, and accessibility is going to be a key factor in the site design. The project must also utilize fact-based conservation science, and the project's also going to involve regional partners and educational institutions to focus on children's education and environmental education. And it's also, we're going to ensure that all children, families, and visitors are welcomed to the site and also to other John Muir Land Trust sites. Next slide, please. So here we are in the project timeline. We're in phase 1, and the John Muir Land Trust has secured the property. And we're now launching phase 2, which is both the capital campaign and also the design process. And just now in this meeting, we're launching phase 3, which is the community design. And in addition to this design, we're going to be having an in-person community meeting in March, in which we will be asking you for your questions, your ideas, and we'll be presenting our assessments for Wagner Ranch, and we'll be putting together several design alternatives, and we'll be presenting those design alternatives in a second in-person meeting in April, and with the intent of developing a one final design concept. And then in phase 4, we will turn that design concept into technical drawings for a contractor to use to build the site. And in phase 5, once the funding has been secured, construction will take place. And in phase 6, we'll be inviting you to the grand opening. All right. Next slide. And here are just some details about the meetings that are coming up, which are in person. The first meeting is taking place on Tuesday, March 24th in the evening from 7 to 9 p.m. And this is the meeting where we will be getting ideas and soliciting ideas and thoughts from you as participants, hoping all of you come to that meeting. And then the second meeting on April 28th, we will be presenting our initial design ideas and getting the community's feedback on that.
Kirsten, maybe I'd weigh in at this point and say the spirit of this kickoff is really to invite folks to participate, right? So you're just getting the very beginning, the first blush of that concept, and we're really lucky to have Kirsten involved with this along with RDG because she has such deep experience with coordinating this sort of process. So we're very excited about that. But there's no process in that regard without your participation. So these in-design meetings are a wonderful possibility for everybody to weigh in about different ideas and perspectives. We very much encourage you to participate, and we would ask you to RSVP soon, and in as much as there's some space limitation. We want to make sure that we accommodate everybody. And also, if you want to learn more, if you want to take a deeper dive, there you can go to our website at jmlt.org /Wagner to learn a lot more. This QR code will also take you there. And to remind everybody, this community project is funded entirely by donors like you. So your participation in the process really foots to the investment that you'll be making, we hope, in order for us to be able to implement all the project design that's going to come out of this process. And we're very excited about it. We think it's a great potential sort of process to everybody's best ideas implemented on the ground. So very much looking forward to that. Please do participate. And we want, just to reiterate, we want to hear from you. So there's also this opportunity to submit feedback, comments, ideas now through a survey form. This form is very flexible. You can find it at this web address here, jmlt.org/feedback. There's specific questions, there's ways that we connect with you, but there's also comment boxes and the like. So if there's, if you want to expand on some thoughts or whatever, there's the possibility for you to do so there as well. This is the most effective and efficient way for you to connect with us about Wagner Ranch. Of course, if you if you submit ideas some other way, we're going to actually gather that. But this is the most direct way, the most efficient way. And by the way, this is a Western pond turtle that was just recently photographed out on Wagner Ranch, which gives you some idea as to the kind of wildlife and the biotics that exist on this property. So again, the resource assessments that we're doing is just a very, very rich natural area that we want to preserve, but also make very accessible for that experiential learning, that hands-on environmental education and so forth. So very exciting project. We want you to participate. I'm pausing on this so you really do see all of that possibility. And to take a moment, I think we're almost at noon or 1 o'clock to thank you and to once again, don't be slow. Please sign up. Please come into to the website to better understand what's going on with Wagner Ranch and to chart this in your calendar and to RSVP sometime soon to participate in these community meetings. So there's no Q&A on this particular meeting. It's really meant as a kickoff, but that is, I think, something that's well served in this brief meeting, so that we can really be in connection with you for upcoming meetings and any kind of anecdotal information that you're able to evolve with us about all the different potentials and for this property, and also for us to discuss some of the obstacles as to what can be accomplished and what may not be as immediately available to us. So looking forward to being in connection with you, and thank you for joining us for this kickoff meeting. And I think we'll end it at that. 30 minutes became 20, 25, and we'll give you 5 minutes back and look forward to hearing from you online. Kirsten, thank you again for helping us with this kickoff, and we'll see everybody soon.
Thanks for being here.
Thanks, everybody.